Hello, welcome. My name is Pucci. I'm going to be your instructor today. This is Cycle Express. For those of you that don't know, Cycle Express is a 30-minute cardiovascular workout right here on a stationary bike. Everybody go ahead and make sure that your seat is equal to hip length, hip height. That way when we're pedaling, we can reach full extension in our hip and in our knee. So if you're pedaling on your bike right now and you feel like a little bunched up on that downstroke, go ahead and raise your seat a little bit. And then if you're feeling like you're stretching as you reach that down pedal, make sure you go ahead and lower your seat. But if you are in a pretty comfortable riding position, go ahead and start pedaling. We're giving everybody else about 1 more minute to get on, and then we're going to go ahead and start with our warm-up. But for now, we're just kind of pedaling and getting our bodies used to the bike. Our handlebars, whether they're close or further away, is 100% up to your comfort levels. Again, we just need to make sure that the seat height is a-okay for us to reach that full extension in our hip and in our knee. Also, make sure that you have some water with you, and it might be helpful for you to have a towel. Completely not necessary for the towel, but strongly recommended for the water. That towel could just be extra help. But it is 4 p.m., so we're going to go ahead and get started with our warm-up. Everybody go ahead and locate that red knob on the center of your bike. This is going to be our resistance knob, so turning it to the left is going to take off that resistance, and turning it to the right is going to add that resistance. This is also going to be our emergency stop knob, so pressing down on it is going to bring our flywheel to a stop. So if at any point we need to go get some water, go to the bathroom, or our flywheel gets a little bit too out of control as we're pedaling, we're going to want to make sure to press down on that for our own safety. You might also have a center console depending on what bike you're on. You can go ahead and turn that on if you have one. What that's going to do is tell us our power and our RPMs. These are just kind of gauges to see how hard we're working in class. Again, those are not necessary, but if you do have that screen, it might be helpful to turn it on just so you can put some numbers to your work. Everybody go ahead and sit up nice and tall for me. Give me a couple shoulder rolls back. Good. We're going to hinge forward at our hips and find a light grip on the handlebars. We're also going to want to find a nice slight bend in our elbow as we are in this position. Keeping that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. Good. This is going to be our proper riding posture. We're going to want to find ourselves like this at every point in the class. Making sure that we're pedaling through the center of our foot. Go ahead and add enough resistance on your flywheel to where you feel like you're making contact with the road. So on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being Mary Poppins flying around, no resistance on your wheel, to 10 being so much resistance that you can't even pedal through, we want to find a nice middle 5 to where we feel like we're putting in some work, but we could be doing it for a long time. Good. This is going to be our moderate 5. And then a couple drills in this class, we're going to come back to that scale of 1 through 10. Good. We've got about a minute and a half left in our warm-up. At this point, we should be pedaling with intent to get ready for stage 1. So as we get closer to the end of that warm-up, we're going to want to slowly increase our resistance to wake our legs up. Good. I hope you guys are ready for a nice hard class. 30 minutes of hard work. And then you're home free with a nice workout in your back pocket. That'll be a fun time. Good, so we've got just under a minute in our warm-up, slowly increasing that resistance. And we are going to kick off stage 1. Our first work song is going to be a seated standing combo. So we're going to be 30 seconds in a heavy standing and 30 seconds in a heavy seated. Let me get my timer ready. We're going to be doing that 4-3 rounds. So go ahead and increase that resistance. Good, right here. As we end our warm-up and move directly into stage 1. heavy and standing heavy. Our first 30 seconds in seated heavy starts in 3, 2, 1. Good. We want to make sure we have enough resistance to maybe feel like on that scale of 1 to 10 we're working at a 7. So it should be taking some strength to get through these strides. Good. If we have that center console, maybe we're seeing our power number really, really high and our RPM number pretty low. Not too low. We want to keep it somewhere between 60 and 75. But again, as we do these drills, it's focusing on strength and not speed. Our next 30 seconds coming up out of the saddle is in 3, 2, 1. Come up out of the saddle. As we come up out of the saddle, we're going to want to add some more resistance to combat the rest of our body weight over the pedals. Good. Really focusing on that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. We're keeping that engaged core to stay lifted. Good. Again, this drill is focusing on strength, getting through these strides. And we are seated for our next 30 seconds in 3, 2, 1. Take a seat, pedal through that resistance as an added challenge that it took us to standing. Good. 30 seconds like this. Good. Remember, we're in strong strides right here. We are standing in 3, 2, 1. Coming up out of that saddle. Good. Keeping that engaged core as we stay lifted. Maybe increasing our resistance, making it a little more challenging. Standing this round then last. Good. Keep pedaling through. Strong strides. We are seated in 3, 2, 1. Take a seat. One more 30-second bout in this seated heavy. One more 30-second bout in that standing heavy. And this drill is complete. Focusing on strength in our legs right here. Good. Maybe you've got a little bit of a lean to get through each pedal. Doing whatever you gotta do to keep moving. Good. We are standing in 3, 2, 1. Last 30 seconds standing right here. Good. Strong strides. Good, and we are seated in 3, 2, 1. Good, take a seat. First drill done. Taking that resistance off. We've got a little bit of time to catch our breath before we move into our next drill. Our last drill in stage 1 is going to be a seated climb. So we're going to simulate what it feels like to climb a mountain. And the closer that we get to the top of the mountain, the more resistance is going to be on our flywheel. So we're going to periodically increase our resistance as we get to this drill. It's about 3 minutes long. And then you'll get a nice recovery song after this. So go ahead and increase that resistance about a half turn on your knob. On that resistance knob in the center of your bike. As we start this seated climb. It may help us if we want to use our imagination to pretend that we're cycling up Kennesaw Mountain or Stone Mountain, or if you're feeling super, super ambitious here on this Monday afternoon, you can pretend that you are biking up Mount Everest, doing whatever it is to get up that mountain in 3 minutes. Good. Our next resistance cue is right here, giving that resistance knob a half turn yet again. Good. As we increase our resistance, we're going to see our RPM go down. That is completely okay. Stage 1 is going to focus on strength, and then once we get to stage 2, we're going to focus more on speed. Good, we're about halfway through this drill. Our next resistance turn is right here. Good, remember we're climbing a mountain. It might help us to imagine something we really, really want at the top of that mountain. Whether it be the end of the week, an A on the test, Christmas time, going to bed tonight, whatever you really, really want, whatever you're really working for, is at the top of this mountain, and we're going to get to it in just under 1 minute, but we have to keep pedaling.
Reach the top, so don't get in my way.
Good, also keeping in mind that we have a full recovery song after this.
I wanna fly higher than the rest. Nothing will ever hold me down.
Good, our last resistance turn is right here. We have 30 seconds left in this drill.
Higher than the rest. The moment's come to get it done.
Good, push through. Keep going, almost there. 10 seconds left. Good, and take that resistance back. We are now in for our first and only recovery song of class. Taking advantage of this time to get some water and catch our breath a little bit.
We are the champions.
All the way to the top, never stop, no. We are the champions. All the way to the top, never stop, no. We are the champions.
Good.
We are the
When we're in
champions.
recovery, we should be
We
pedaling
are the
with
champions.
little resistance on our wheel. We should still have some, like kind of we were in that warm-up zone where
Hope
we're
that
at
everybody
a
ready
5.
for my lyrical machete, bring it so
Out
much
of a
better
scale
than
of 1
anybody
to
ever
10.
did it. Do you get it? I'm the
Putting in some
champion.
work,
It's like
but
a
not an
one-on-one
incredible
against
amount.
me. Ain't nobody
As
ever
we
did
give
it
our
like this.
bodies some
You can take
time
an aim, but you bound to miss.
let all
No
that
matter
blood
how
flow
hard
that
you
was
try,
just in
you
our
never
legs
win.
come back
When they
to
see
our
me
heart
get
and
the
our
top
head
score.
before we proceed
All
on
right,
to
now
the next
scream it
stage.
out. I'm the champion. Yeah, come on now, scream it out. I'm the champion. Then I'm going. All the way
While
to
I
the
have you
top,
guys here, I
never
would like
stop,
to take some time to tell you that
no.
live in-person group fitness
We are the
has come back.
champions.
We are now
All the
offering
way
classes
to the
in
top,
person
never
such as
stop,
Zumba,
no.
yoga, strength circuits.
We are
Pretty
the
sure we have a hip-hop
champions.
toning class. If you are interested
We
in
are the
coming and visiting us
champions.
live in person and taking our classes
We are the
face-to-face,
champions.
go ahead and go to mysportsrec.kennesaw.edu under that OwlFit tab, and you can see the classes that we're offering in person, and you can register and book your spot. But if you are coming in person, make sure you reserve a spot in the group fitness class itself and in the actual facility. That way you have no problems getting into the facility and then getting into the group fitness classes
All the way
themselves.
to the top, never stop,
I teach an
no.
in-person strength circuits class.
We are the
It's now being conducted
champions.
and fun,
All the way
so please
to
feel
the
free
top,
to join me.
never stop,
I would love to interact with you guys in
no.
person again.
We are the champions.
But we've got about 10 seconds left
We
in
are
our
the
recovery time, so we're
champions.
going to go ahead and increase that resistance
We are the champions.
as we get ready for stage 2. Good. We are now in stage 2. Stage 2 is going to focus a lot on speed. So our first drill is going to be 30-second sprints, and we're going to be doing this for 4 rounds. On for our first sprint in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds, getting our RPMs up. As we sprint, we want to make sure we have enough resistance on our flywheel to where our hips are stable in the seat. If you feel like your hips are super bouncy as you pedal, go ahead and increase some resistance. Yes, we are working speed, but we also want to maintain control. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Take some of that resistance back, 30 seconds off, and then we're going to go into our next 30-second sprint. Taking advantage of this 30 seconds to get water if we need. But we are on for our next 30-second sprint in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Increasing that resistance and getting those RPMs up. Good. If you have an RPM gauge on your bike, we're going to want to find our number anywhere between 85 and 105. Good. Halfway there. But if you don't have that gauge, you want to cycle as fast as you can with your hips controlled. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. 30 seconds off. 2 sprints done, 2 sprints left. Good, gearing up for that next sprint, coming in about 15 seconds. Maybe gradually increasing our resistance. Our next sprint is in 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds right here. Digging deep. We can pretend that we're in a bike race. And we are just behind that person in first place. And we're really trying to pass him right here. Good, so cycle to beat the person in first. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 30 seconds off. We've got one more sprint left. Again, taking advantage of this 30 seconds off to get some water if we need. Good, our next sprint is 3, 2, 1. Last sprint right here. We want speed and stability. If we're pretending we're in that bike race, we have just passed that person in first place, but we have not made it to the finish line yet. 15 seconds. Can you stay in front of them? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and take that resistance back. 30 seconds is ours. Good. Again, taking this mini recovery time to get some water and to catch our breath a little bit. Our next song is going to be another seated standing combo. We're going to be at a seated flat and a standing flat. So cycling at a 6 on a scale of 1 to 10, cycling at that 6 while we're seated, cycling at that 6 when I cue us to standing. We're going to be doing half and half. So half of the song seated, half of the song standing. Just giving us a little break from that last drill before we move into our final drill that are both pretty taxing. Again, we want to find that nice 6 out of 10. Not quite as seated heavy, but definitely a seated flat. So where we're putting in some work, but we could be doing it for about 10 to 20 minutes. Good, but as we are in this work song, we are going to want to try and keep our RPMs a little bit higher than they would be in a warm-up, a recovery, or a cool-down, so our body is still in work mode. So if you have that RPM gauge, anywhere between 80 and 90. If you don't have that RPM gauge, then at a nice pace to where you feel like you're putting in a good amount of work. Good, we've got about 30 more seconds seated before we come up into that standing position. As we get tired in class, our form is the first thing to go. So doing that body check to make sure we still have that engaged core, open chest, and flat back. Pedaling through the center of our foot as we ride. Good. About 10 more seconds seated. And then we're going to come up into that standing, giving our resistance knob a big turn to the right in 3, 2, 1, and coming up out of that saddle. Again, we want stability as we ride. So if we feel super unstable, go ahead and increase that resistance a little bit more. Good, again, focusing on keeping the majority of our body weight over the pedals. We don't want too much of a lean forward or too much of a lean backwards. Good, as we stand, it's important to have that engaged core to stay lifted. To stand nice and tall as we finish out this drill. We've got about 1 minute and 30 seconds left standing. If our legs are getting tired, it might help us to imagine cycling as a push-pull method. So pulling our heel to our glute on our upstroke rather than just pushing down on the pedal on our downstroke to make cycling a push-pull method. Every time I talk about it, I almost vision it as a circle with our feet. Good. Just under a minute left standing. Can you stay standing the entire time? We only have one more drill after this. Good, 10 seconds.
8, 7, 6, 5,
and we are down. Good, take some of that resistance off. We get a little bit of a break before we go into this final drill. I'm gonna go ahead and explain it. This drill is called 20-20-20. So back to our number scale of 1 through 10. It's an interval training song, so we're gonna wanna train in an easy work zone for 20 seconds. Up that resistance, up our RPMs after that initial 20 seconds for the next 20 seconds where we're training in a moderate work zone. And then after that 20 seconds is up for that last 20 seconds, again, increasing that resistance and increasing those RPMs for 20 seconds of hard work where we're essentially looking for a 20-second weighted sprint. Good, so we're gonna go ahead and increase our resistance to where we feel like we're putting in work and go for that first 20 seconds. On a scale of 1 to 10, we should be in a 6 work zone. Good, halfway there. Getting ready to increase our RPMs and our resistance in 3, 2, 1. Give that knob a full turn to the right. It should get heavier under our feet. Good. Cycling in this for 10 more seconds. And on for that weighted sprint in 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds. Increasing that resistance a little bit, but to where we can still get that 85 to 100 on our RPMs. Halfway there. Good. Keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take that resistance back. 20 seconds in an easy work zone. We're doing that 2 more times, and then class is over. Good, getting ready to increase that resistance in our RPMs for our 20 seconds. Up in 3, 2, 1. Moderate work right here, 20 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, are you ready?
Good, increasing our resistance in 4, 3, 2, 1. Our 20-second weighted sprint Really pushing through. This is our last drill in class. We are emptying our tank. 10 seconds left. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 20 seconds of easy work. This is our last 1 minute work phase of class. Draining your tank, giving everything you've got. This is the last minute of this drill. Increasing our resistance in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. 20 seconds of moderate work. Working somewhere in our 7 out of 10. Getting ready for our last weighted sprint. Here in 3, 2, 1. Last 20 seconds of class. Hard work. Push. 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 10 seconds left. You are almost there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Take that resistance back. We are now in our cool down. At this point, we have little to no resistance on our flywheel. We are pedaling to catch our breath, get some water, and let all that blood that was just in our legs come back to our hearts and our head before we dismount the bike safely.
Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up and move your body. Get up. Get up. Get up.
As we start with our on-the-bike stretches, we're going to take our arm and come across our body, acting as if there's a magnetic repel between our ear and our shoulder. Good, so focus on keeping that shoulder down.
Get up and move your body.
And release, same thing on that other arm.
Get up. Get up. Get up. Get up and move. Get up.
Are you ready?
Get up. Get up and move.
And release. We're going to take our fingers and lace them behind our back and open our chest up.
Get up and move.
Good, as we cycle. Our chest muscles are in a short position, so we're focusing on lengthening them right here.
Get up and move your body. Get up. Get up and move. Get up. Get up and move your body. Get up and move. Get up and move your body.
And release. We're going to press down on that center knob, bringing our flywheel completely to a stop. We're going to go ahead and hop off our bike. We're going to find that nice incline on the back of our bike and prop our heel up on that, hinging forward at our hips. We're going to find this stretch in the lower back half of our legs, otherwise known as our calf complex. Hope you guys had a good workout. I know my heart is still beating a little fast from that last drill. Good, if we want to get a little bit deeper in this stretch, we can bend at our knee and push forward a little bit more with our hip. And we should feel this stretch a little bit closer to the bone. Good, and release, propping up our toe. Same thing on our other leg, hinging forward at that hip, feeling the stretch in the lower back half of our leg. Good, again, if we want to get deeper in that stretch, we are bending at our knee and pushing forward more with our hip. Feeling that stretch a little bit closer to the bone. Good, and release, finding that nice midpoint in our bike. We're gonna prop our heel up on that, keeping our hips square to the bike. We're gonna hinge forward. Maybe we're stretchy enough to put our heel on our seat. Unfortunately, I am not that stretchy. And if I did that, I would probably fall down. And these things are recorded and saved, so everybody can make fun of me and say what they want. I'm not gonna do that. Good. Release, doing the same thing with our other foot, propping our heel up on that nice midpoint, squaring our hips with the bike and hinging forward. To get that stretch in the upper back half of our leg or in our hamstring. Good, and release. Going into our last stretch, we're gonna grab our ankle, point our knee directly at the ground, and focus on keeping our hips right on underneath us, stretching the upper front half of our leg. Good, we can hang on to the bike for stability if we so need, or balance. And release, same thing on that other leg. Stretching the upper front half or our quad muscle group. Good, and release. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. My name is Gucci. This was Cycle